Hello, everyone, and welcome to my once weekly broadcast. My name is Michelle Marie, and I am both a Vedic and Western astrologer, as well as a tarot and oracle card reader. And tonight we have a very special show because I am going to go into the 2026 transits for each sign, Aries through Pisces. And I hope that you have your notebooks ready, you have your spiritual diaries ready, your astrology planners ready, because get ready to take some notes, because I am going by ascendant, moon, and sun sign on what you can expect in 2026. Now, 2025 was, that kind of cracked the egg. 2026 is when we find out what we're made of. So I am really excited to share these transits with you. And before I go into readings tonight, I really want to go in depth on what we can expect from the planets moving forward. So if you come into the audience, please stay with me as I am going to be going through a lot of information. Now, again, get out your notebooks, get out your planners, your diaries, whatever you use to keep track of what to do for the next year, because this is going to be pretty intense. If you're on Twitch, go ahead and go over to YouTube or Facebook, where I have the link to look up a free sidereal chart calculator. For those on Facebook and YouTube joining me today, it's in the description. So go ahead and click on that and find out what your ascendant sign is. If you don't have a birth time, go ahead and look up your moon or your sun sign. The moon represents your inner emotional state. The sun represents the ego. That can give you a gist of what's going on. So you don't necessarily need to have your birth time to do this show tonight. So let's get started, and I will address all of you in the audience once I'm done. This is going to be probably 20 minutes to half an hour, so get ready for some really intense revelations for 2026. So we're going to start with Aries ascendants, suns, and moons. This is especially true for ascendants. So if you're an Aries rising, 2026 is a year of karmic closure before a rebirthing for you. This is not a year where you push harder, Aries. It's a year where your life is going to remove what is very draining so that your energy can return cleaner and sharper and more purposeful, which is what I know you love. Now, Saturn and Neptune in sidereal Pisces are going to be in your 12th house. So this is one of your most spiritually significant transits. And it's going to bring withdrawal, endings, and karmic release. So Neptune dissolves all of the denial that's been going on in your life. And historically, when Saturn and Neptune activate in the 12th house, people leave long-standing roles. They exit exhausting careers and relationships. They begin spiritual and healing paths. Yay. And they experience burnout if rest is assisted. So this is a time for you, dear Aries, to take a rest. Okay, because in January and March, Saturn and Neptune, their conjunction and influence, it's going to bring some confusion, some fatigue, vivid dreams. Emotional processing will be at its peak for you. And you may feel a little invisible or misunderstood. So this is not punishment from the universe. It is absolute purification and for your highest good. Now, the Saturn retrograde is going to be from July 26th to December 10th. And that's old griefs, guilt, karmic issues are going to resurface for that final closure. And the guidance is that you should not force clarity in 2026, because clarity will come through surrender for you. And I know that's very difficult, dear Aries, but you've got this. Now, let's talk about months. Mars is your ruler. He moves very quickly this year because there's no retrogrades for him. This means that your actions will carry immediate consequences. So let's look at January, February. Mars is going to activate your 9th house in Sagittarius. That's ideological battles, legal or belief-based conflicts, and very strong opinions. But avoid fighting to be right, and you'll be successful. On February 23rd, Mars is entering Aquarius in your 11th house. Yay! Group tensions can arise, especially near the eclipse window, and that's going to bring some drama, so prepare for that. Now, March 12th, Mars conjunct Rahu in your 11th house. That's going to bring volatile friendships, online conflict, political arguments. Just take a step back and take a breath before saying anything, especially on social media. And then April 2nd through the 18th, Mars moves through Pisces. That's 12th house. That's energy drops. Anger turns inward. And if you don't rest, you're going to burn out, honey. So then we go into May 11th. Now, Mars is going to enter Aries. That's the first house. Power and confidence return. And if you use it wisely, it can really fuel your path moving forward. June 20th through the July 23rd, Mars will come into Taurus, your second house. That will bring money disputes and harsh speech. So watch out what you say to your friends, your neighbors, children, etc. Okay. Now, August and September, Mars will enter Gemini and Cancer. So that's the third and the fourth houses. There will be arguments at home or sibling issues in these departments. November 12th through the 14th, Mars in Leo. That is going to, there's going to be a conjunction with Mars, Jupiter, and Ketu that's going on, and that can bring up karmic, creative, or romantic turning points in your life. So really watch for that. Now let's talk about Mercury in your life this year, dear Aries. So there's some combustions, there's some wars, there's some retrogrades with Mercury this year, and this goes for everybody, but Mercury in 2026 strongly affects your beliefs, your career, and your communication. So January through mid-February, Mercury is going to be Sagittarius 9th house and then Capricorn 10th house. It's combust. He's in wars. There's going to be confusions in travel, education, and a lot of career messaging. So being understood in your career. Now, double check those emails and contracts before you sign anything, okay? And then February 3rd through March 20th, there's a Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, and that's in your 11th house. That can bring misunderstandings with friends, online platforms, and audiences. So be mindful of that. Then in April, Mercury is in Pisces. That's your 12th house. That's conjunct Neptune and Saturn. So mental fog, hidden worries, but you will have strong intuition during this time. So rely on that. Don't rely on intellect, rely on intuition. Then, yay, May through June, Mercury retrograde in Cancer and Gemini, that will bring family conversations to the front. And some of your paperwork may need revision during this time. So pay attention to that. October 24th through November 13th, Mercury retrograde in Libra. That's in your 7th house. So you're renegotiating your partnerships. You're kind of standing up for yourself in those places where you couldn't at the beginning of the year. Okay, that's the time to stand down and rest. Later in the year, you'll be able to stand up for yourself a little more. So then we have December. Mercury is Scorpio and Sagittarius. That's your 8th and 9th houses. Deeper insights and spiritual learning will be available to you during that time. And then we have the Mercury retrogrades. So February 26th and through March 20th, Aquarius 11th house, that can bring out some friendship fallouts, some miscommunication in groups and settings and things like that. So just be aware. June 29th and July 23rd, that's when he shifts from Cancer to Gemini. Those family conversations resurface, and there could be some emotional misunderstanding. So it's important to kind of take a step back and go, okay, rethink this. And then October 24th through November 13th, relationship contracts and your negotiations will be tested. So dot those I's and cross those T's. Now, the station days are most volatile, so pay attention to those dates I just told you. Then let's look at Venus, dear Aries. I spent a lot of time on this, as you can tell. This is going to reshape your beliefs, your money, and your relationships. January 1st through the 12th, Sagittarius at the 9th. That is combust and in wars. There's going to be a lot of disappointment around beliefs, teachers, and travel plans. On February 17th, Venus conjunct Rahu. During the Aquarius eclipse is in your 11th house. Illusions or sudden attractions within friendships or online relationships will just blow up, okay? March 1st to 25th, Venus enters Pisces. That's your 12th house. That's going to be conjunct Neptune and Saturn. Secret relationships, spiritual longing, and emotional exhaustion to take place. So be aware of that. March 25th through April 19th, Venus in Aries, that's in your 1st house. Confidence returns, but impulsive romances can erupt. So don't take that text from an ex, okay? Then on April 23rd, Venus conjunct Uranus, that's in your second house in Taurus, that can bring sudden financial shifts. So pay attention to that date. Then we have April 23rd, that's Venus conjunct Uranus, that's in Taurus, your second house. Sudden financial shifts can occur as well. Then June 9th, Venus conjunct Jupiter, that's in Cancer, your fourth house. There can be blessings in your home. I love that for you. Then we have July 10th, Venus conjunct Ketu in Leo. That can bring karmic romantic detachment. So if you find yourself fighting with your partner or your spouses during that time, just, take a step back, especially your children, some of your creative partners, just be like, breathe through it. Know that it's just a transit. Okay. Now, October 3rd through November 13th, we have a Venus retrograde that is in Libra, Virgo, and that's your 7th and 6th houses. That's going to bring a lot of relationship assessment and how you deal with your daily routines and activities. It could also make you reconsider your friends, or frenemies may come up during that time as well. November 22nd onward, Venus is very strong in Libra. That's in your 7th house. So harmony in your relationships will be restored. But before that restoration occurs, oh my goodness, are you cleaning house? So now let's go into Jupiter for you, dear Aries ascendants, moons, and suns. Jupiter is going to bring growth through emotional safety. So Gemini, 3rd house, that's going to be from June 1st until June 1st, and he's going to retrograde March 10th. That's writing, teaching, learning, and you're going to rethink your message a little bit. Then Cancer, he enters your 4th house from June 1st to October 31st, and that's one of the best home, family, and emotional healing transits in 12 years that you've ever had. So fully take advantage of Jupiter's transit there. And if he's your Mahadasha Lord during this point, you'll know by the timing, if you talk to a Vedic astrologer, wow, can you make some differences? Then Leo, he enters Leo, your 5th house, from October 31st onward, and he retrogrades again December 12th. But that's going to bring creative confidence and make you a little more humbler in your transactions. So that's good. Then we have the overall trend here. Now, Jupiter in Cancer for you, that aligns with property moves, family reunification, and emotional healing. So really focus on that. Now let's talk about the eclipses, Rahu and Ketu. Rahu in Aquarius is going to take place in your 11th house. This is unusual allies, powerful networks, and unstable friendships. So beware of those a little bit. Ketu in Leo is going to be in your 5th house. That can bring detachment from your ego, any kind of driven creativity. It can bring in some romantic disillusionment and issues with children. So just be aware of that. And then after December 5th, Rahu is going to enter Capricorn in your 10th house. So that's when your career ambition really ignites and visibility increases quickly. So Ketu enters Cancer, and that's going to be your 4th house after December 5th of 2026. And that's going to bring emotional detachment from family expectations. So be aware of that. It can also bring issues around the home and real estate. Now, here are the eclipses for you, dear Aries. On February 17th, we have a solar eclipse in Aquarius 11th house, friendship or community resets. On March 3rd, we have a total lunar eclipse in Leo, that's in your 5th house, romantic or creative chapter closes, and pay attention to those investments and to your kiddos. And then we have August 12th, that's a solar eclipse in Cancer 4th house, and that's home, family, or emotional identity resets. Then we have August 27th. That is a lunar eclipse in Aquarius 11th house. That's your final social reckoning. Okay, so here are some remedies. You can chant Hanuman Chalisa or practice more physical discipline this year. You can do a monthly digital detox that can help you quiet the mind. You can also donate to hospitals, shelters, or prisons. That takes care of that 12th house energy that's coming your way. But sleep and solitude will be sacred for you. Don't think you're lazy by doing it. You need rest, honey. Okay? So 2026 is not the year for you to conquer the world. It's the year for you to reclaim your energy so you can. Okay? It's coming later. I hope that was helpful, dear Aries. Now we're moving into Taurus. I told you I did my research. This is going to be fun. So If you are a Taurus rising, 2026 is a year that reshapes your security financially, emotionally, and professionally. What feels unstable at first is actually preparing you for a more authentic form of stability. So we start off with Uranus and sidereal Taurus. This is in your first house. Woo! I'm a Taurus ascendant, so I'm right there with you. So Uranus continues to electrify your identity. Historically, Uranus in the first coincides with radical image or lifestyle changes, especially for Kritika and Rohini nakshatras. Sudden independence, I'm looking forward to that, and breaking from tradition and family expectations that have been placed on you for a long time. So you are not meant to look, live, or leave the life you once did. You're starting a whole new chapter. So sudden decisions, impulsive moves, and physical stress will happen if you resist this change. And that will especially be apparent, I should say, on July 3rd when Uranus conjuncts Mars. That's going to bring a lot of things to the forefront. Then we have a Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Pisces in your 11th house, dear Taurians. So all year, Saturn's going to be, he's going to retrograde from July 26th to December 10th. And your friendships, your audiences, and your long-term goals will undergo a karmic pruning. I'm already going through this, so you can probably relate to that. And then early in 2026, we have a Saturn-Neptune influence that can cause some disillusion from groups and networks that you've been in, movements, and communities that just lack integrity. They're not living in reality. Okay, so there is a historical pattern here because when Saturn and Neptune activate in the 11th house, people will leave organizations that no longer align with their values. And that's going to be a big thing for you, Taurus ascendants, moons, and suns. So what's going to happen during the Saturn retrograde I just talked about? Old social ties are going to kind of resurface briefly, usually just for closure. So that you're like, oh, okay, get this person off my email list. Don't collaborate with this person. Our vibe is not matching. Okay? There's no problem in walking away from structures and systems that no longer work for you. Okay? So let's talk about how Mars is going to affect you, dear Taurians. This is going to challenge your sense of security and control. So during January and February, Mars and Sagittarius is going to affect your 8th house. That's financial entanglements, power struggles, and emotional intensity. Then on February 23rd, Mars is going to enter Aquarius in your 10th house. That can bring career conflicts to an increase. Then on March 12th, Mars is going to go conjunct Rahu. That forms an Anagarak, and that's in your 10th house. That's explosive workplace conflicts. Avoid ultimatums. Just kind of do your spiritual practices in the morning, maybe wear some onyx and just prepare for that. Ground yourself, honey. Then on April, we have Mars in Pisces 11th house. That is social fatigue, disillusionment with groups. Talked about that earlier. May 11th, Mars in Aries. That's your 12th house, suppressed anger, and there's a burnout risk there. So manage that carefully. Maybe do some pranayama in the morning to prepare yourself. Then June 20th through July 23rd, Mars is going to enter Taurus. That's conjunct Uranus. That can bring sudden identity shifts, impulsive decisions. So be very careful physically during this time as well, because that rules your ascendant, and Uranus can cause lightning moments, and you want to make sure to avoid accidents and things like that. Then August and September, Mars in Gemini and Cancer, especially in your 2nd and 3rd house, that's going to bring money and communication conflicts. And then in November, Mars enters Leo. That's your 4th house. That can be family and housing tensions. They can come to a head. So be aware of Mars this year, dear Taurians. Now let's talk about how Mercury is affecting you in 2026. January and February, Mercury is going to enter sidereal Sagittarius and Capricorn. That's in your 8th and 9th house. It's combust. Lots of stuff going on there. And unclear financial or legal matters can arise because there's a lot of wars going on during those months. Then we have February and Mars. There's a retrograde. Mercury in Aquarius, 10th house. Career miscommunications or delays can take place. Then we have in April, Mercury in Pisces that enters your 11th house. That's idealizing friends or networks. So then in June and July, we have a major retrograde. That's Mercury, Cancer into Gemini. That rules your 2nd and 3rd houses. That's time to review contracts, finances, sibling issues. Okay. Then in August, Mercury and Jupiter in Cancer, that's your third house. That is actually good for supportive conversations. So that's the time to really kind of dive into those communications and mend those bridges. Then October and November, you have a retrograde. That's Mercury in Libra, sixth house, and that's work and health routines need some adjustments. December, you got Mercury in Scorpio and Sagittarius. That's your seventh and eighth house. That's relationship talks can deepen. So really dive into those. In December, you have Mercury in Scorpio and Sagittarius, seventh and eighth. That's, again, like I said, it's really good for your relationships. Then we have retrogrades. Let's talk about those. February 26th through March 20th. That's your 10th house. Career communications, leadership reversals. Prepare for that. June 29th through July 23rd. Family talks that affect your finances. October 24th through November 13th, workload, contracts, and health routines will need some recalibration. So now let's talk about Venus. That's your ruling planet and the most important planet in your chart. So in January, Venus will be in Sagittarius, your eighth house. That's emotional vulnerability and financial dependency themes. January 12th through February 5th, Venus is Capricorn, your ninth house. Distance or disappointment in long-range plans could arise for you. The February 17th eclipse, Venus will be conjunct Rahu in your 10th house. That's seductive career offers. Read the fine print. Then Mars 1st through the 25th, Venus in Pisces is going to be in your 11th house. That's idealized friendships, then a little bit more disillusionments. Then April 19th through the 23rd, Venus is conjunct Uranus in Taurus. That's your first house. That's dramatic personal reinvention. Then on June 9th, Venus and Jupiter in Cancer is your third house. That can bring joyful communication. Yay, Taurus ascendants, moons, and suns. Then on July 10th, Venus and Ketu in Leo, your fourth house, can bring that detachment from that family expectations as you kind of step out on your own. October, November, there's a retrograde going on. It's going to be Venus, Libra to Virgo. He loves the sign of Libra because Venus is very happy in Libra, but Virgo is debilitation. So you're going to be reevaluating a lot of your love and health balance and finding out who's there for you and who's not during this time. So be aware of that, sweetie. Then late November and December, Venus is so strong. Clarity's going to return, especially when it comes to relationships and love and whatever house that it fits for you. So now we're going to talk about Jupiter for you Deuterians. Financial and skill expansion are coming for you. In Gemini, he's going to be in your second house. That is until June 1st, and then he's going to retrograde March 10th. That is going to bring income through skills, teaching and speaking. And then Cancer, that's in your third house. That's June 1st through October 31st. That's writing, media, and learning to flourish in those areas. And then Leo, that's your fourth house. That's after October 31st, and he goes retrograde on December 12th. That's home, property, and emotional grounding. Okay? Now, Jupiter through the second and third coincides with new income streams and educational pursuits. So take advantage of those this year, okay, Taurians? Now let's talk about how the eclipses are going to affect you. Rahu and Ketu. Rahu is in Aquarius, your 10th house. Career ambition is going to peak and visibility increases. I'm looking forward to that. Then Ketu and Leo in the fourth, emotional detachment from home and family values. So you might find yourself backing away from those areas. Then after December 5th, Rahu enters Capricorn. That's your 9th house. Foreign travel, publishing, your belief systems are going to shift a little bit, higher education, things like that. Ketu and Cancer, a reduced need to explain yourself. Amen. Okay? Now, so the February 17th solar eclipse is going to happen. Aquarius, 10th house, career reset and leadership change. March 3rd, that's a lunar eclipse in Leo. 4th house, family or living situation will kind of culminate during that time. August 12th, solar eclipse, Cancer, 3rd house, new communication paths. August 27th, lunar eclipse, Aquarius, 10th house, final professional reckoning. Here are some remedies for you, dear Taurians. Friday, you can offer Venus flowers, art, or beauty on your altar. This could be an ancestral altar. It could be an altar to Christ or Buddha or Krishna or Muhammad, whatever your religion speaks to, but offer flowers and beauty to your altar this year. Grounding practices such as nature, getting out in nature, going on hikes, and doing lots of breath work are going to be really grounding for you as you go through this. Avoid career ultimatums during eclipses. It's going to be hard, but just take a step back and try to keep a cool mind. Maybe do some pranayama in the morning. Now, charity to artists or women can really help you during this time. Okay, so that's something else you can do. So 2026 is going to teach you that real security comes from adaptability, not control. Now, if you're just joining us, make sure to click the sidereal calculator in the description and calculate your ascendant sign, moon, or sun, because I am doing full readings for 2026 per planet and what you can expect moving forward. So get your journals and your diaries out and let's keep going. For Gemini ascendant suns and moons, if you're a Gemini, 2026 reshapes your identity, your voice, and ultimately your direction. This is the year when your impulsive choices can bring consequences, but conscious ones bring beautiful breakthroughs. So Mars, let's talk about him. He's going to bring a lot of mental heat your way and fast consequences in 2026 because he's not going retrograde this year. He's like full steam ahead. January and February, Mars in Sagittarius, 7th house, relationship arguments, legal and contractual tensions. Ooh. February 23rd, Mars enters Aquarius, 9th house. That's ideological clashes and travel stress. Then we have March 12th. That is a Mars conjunct Rahu. That's called an Angarak yoga. That's reckless speech and belief-based conflict. So really watch yourself during that time, Gemini. Then in April, we have Mars in Pisces. That's your 10th house. That's career confusion. So don't force the direction there. May 11th, that's Mars in Aries. He's going to be bold in your networking, but he can also bring some ego clashes. Then from June 20th to July 23rd, we have Mars in Taurus. That's your 12th house. That's exhaustion, but it can bring some hidden stresses your way. Then we have in August, Mars in Gemini. That's your first house. That's a sharp tongue, and it can also bring a little impatience. So be aware of that. And then in September, Mars in Cancer affects your 2nd house. That can bring emotional spending. And then in November, Mars in Leo, that's in your 3rd house. That can bring some confrontational communications. Now let's look at Saturn and Neptune, Pisces. That's going to happen in your 10th house. Okay, that's all year. So career illusions will dissolve for you, and authority figures may disappoint you a little bit. So look at your past career choices and resurface for some reassessment there. Okay, dear Gemini, this transit often coincides with a lot of career redirection and a little bit of public accountability. Okay, so let's look at Mercury. He's your ruling planet. Mercury will define your year. January and February, Mercury in Sagittarius and Capricorn, he's going to be going through a lot of wars. He's combustion. It's a lot of stuff going on. There's going to be a lot of misunderstandings in relationships across the board with authorities and loved ones, everything. Okay. So in February and March, he's going to go retrograde. That's Mercury in Aquarius, 9th house. That's going to shift your beliefs and cause maybe some travel delays if you're doing that. April, Mercury's into Pisces. That's your 10th house. That can bring some career confusion and some unclear expectations. And then in June and July, he's going to go through retrograde. He's going to go from Cancer back to Gemini. That's your 2nd into your 1st house. You're going to really rethink your self-expression and your finances during that time. In August, Mercury enters Jupiter in Cancer 2nd house. That can bring out some financial optimism. Yay! October, November, he's going to go retrograde. That can bring a lot of romantic and creative reviews in your life, and also reviews with children if you have kiddos in the home. Then December, Mercury in Scorpio and Sagittarius, that's your 6th and 7th house. Practical clarity returns, especially regarding your close relationship with your spouse and your daily routines and how you handle those frenemies. So let's talk about the retrogrades, because they affect you a little bit more because he's your ascendant lord. February 26th through March 20th. That's going to happen in your 9th house in Aquarius. Publishing, legal, travel delays, things in that area, especially if you're in higher education. June 29th through July 23rd, he goes from Cancer to Gemini, retrogrades. That can bring emotional decisions around your own self-worth and what you expect from others. Then October 21st through November 13th, we have him going through Libra in your 5th house. That can bring creative or romantic misunderstandings. So these Mercury stations, pay attention to those dates I just gave you, the retrograde and the directs. They can bring heightened anxiety for you more than other signs. So just take those dates down in your diary and be prepared for them. Then Venus is going to highlight your relationship and career choices. Let's talk about how Venus is affecting you this year. January, Venus is going to enter Sagittarius. That's your 7th house. He's going to be combusted. So that's going to cause a lot of relationship confusion. And he's also going to be at war with Mars and Mercury, and it's going to be a little bit of a mess. Then January 12th through February 5th, Venus in Capricorn, that's going to bring intimacy issues because they're still going to war with each other, okay? Then February 17th, eclipse. And then Venus is right with Rahu when it happens. So that can bring a belief of a long-distance relationship or an illusion regarding relationships that have been lying to you, so to speak. So then we have March 1st through the 25th. That's Venus in Pisces. That occurs in your 10th house. Glamour at work, but unclear promises. April 23rd, you have Venus and Uranus conjunction in Taurus. That can bring a lot of secret desires to the surface, so be aware of that. June 9th, Venus and Jupiter are going to go conjunct in the 2nd house. That can bring you financial growth. So if you're looking to make investments in that time, that could be a good time for you. And then July 10th, Venus and Ketu in Leo, that's in your 3rd house. That can bring detached communication. Now, October and November, that's when he goes retrograde, Venus. So that's going to affect your 5th and your 4th houses, Libra, Virgo axis. So that's love and home reassessment. You might want to contact me for an astrocartography reading during that time. Then late November, romantic clarity will improve. Yay, because we love it when Venus enters Libra. Now, Jupiter, what's he going to do in your life this year? He's going to assess your identity and your overall values. Gemini in the 1st until June 1st. We love it when Jupiter's on our ascendant. That is until June 1st. And he's going to retrograde March 10th. So that's going to bring a lot of growth and confidence and a lot of identity reassessment. So in Cancer, from June 1st to October 31st, that's going to bring income and your self-worth will expand. Then he's going to enter your 3rd house in Leo on October 31st, and he's going to retrograde in December 12th. But that's going to bring courage, communication, and learning for you. Now let's talk about what the eclipses are doing for you, dear Gemini. We have, until December 5th, an obsession with truth, belief, and justice in your 9th house. Ketu in Leo is going to be in your 3rd. That's detachment from that constant communication. Just take a step back. And siblings and neighbors and things like this, go in, okay, when it comes to those areas. After December 5th, Rahu's going to enter Capricorn. That's your 8th house of inheritances, major transformations, chronic illness. That can bring a lot of entanglements in those areas, especially financial. And then you have Ketu in the 2nd. It's telling you to simplify your speech, your possessions, and start to get rid of things because that's your 2nd house of savings and maybe things you don't need. So that's a really good time for spring cleaning after December 5th. Let's talk about when the eclipse dates affect you. February 17th, there's going to be a belief and a legal reset for you. March 3rd, that's a lunar eclipse in Leo. That's going to bring a communication climax. Solar eclipse, 2nd house Cancer, financial reboot. 7th, that's a lunar eclipse. That's going to bring a philosophical closure. Okay, so let's look at some remedies for you in 2026. You need to really work on breath work and taking care of your neural system, your nervous system in general. Pranayama, Bhastrika, any type of activity that you can do to calm those nerves. You can wear green clothing on Wednesdays. You can also avoid confrontations from mid-March into April and donate books and educational materials, especially to people in need. And that can really please Mercury. So 2026, dear Gemini, is going to teach you that your words don't just express reality, they create it. Again, if you're just joining us, get out your spiritual diary or your astrocartography and everything else that you have available, because I am giving you a full download into 2026 per sign. If you're not sure what your sidereal sign is, which is the real math in the sky, go ahead and click on the calculator in the description. If you're coming from Twitch, it's available on my YouTube and Facebook channels or at astrologicaltarot.com chart calculator. Okay. Let's look at Cancer ascendants now, moons and suns. Again, the ascendant is the strongest point here. The moon is your emotional state. The sun is your ego. So if you are a Cancer rising, 2026 is a pivotal year for your identity, your healing, and your emotional sovereignty. This is a year where you're going to stop carrying what was never yours to begin with. Yay, release. So let's talk about Jupiter, because he's going to be your great awakener this year. He's going from Gemini to Cancer to Leo. So Gemini in your 12th, emotional exhaustion, endings, behind the scenes preparation. Then he's going to enter your first house. We love it when Jupiter's on our ascendant, moon, or sun. It's really, really good yoga. So this is one of the most important transits of your life. It can bring out personal rebirth, confidence, and a lot of visibility your way. Then we have Leo in the second. That's after October 31st, and he's going to retrograde December 12th. So what that's going to bring is income growth, and it's going to be tied to your self-worth a little bit. That's okay. Then the major trend that you're going to see with Jupiter is when he crosses the ascendant, this coincides with marriage, childbirth, relocations, and a renewed purpose in your life. So you can really look forward to Jupiter being on your ascendant. I love giving people good news. So Cancer, you're good there. Now let's talk about how Mercury is going to affect your life, your Cancer. We have him activating your work, your relationships, and your emotional communication. So January through February, we have Mercury in Sagittarius. That's Capricorn, 6th and 7th house, and he's going to be combust. So that's work, stress, and relationship miscommunications can happen during that time. February and March, there's a retrograde going on. That's Mercury in Aquarius, 8th house. That can bring financial paperwork and delays your way. April, we have Mercury in Pisces. That's your 9th house. So that's spiritual insight, but there might be some unclear paths. Then on June and July, there's a retrograde going on. Mercury in Cancer, back to Gemini. That's your 1st and your 12th. That can bring a lot of emotional and sensitivity. So mental rest is absolutely needed for you during that time. Then in August, Mercury, Jupiter, Cancer, they're getting together. That is going to cause a lot of emotional support, great news, and confidence. So make sure you rest during June and July, because things are going to get better in August for you. Then October and November, there's a retrograde going on. That's Mercury in Libra. He's going to be in your 4th house. That's home, family, and discussions will resurface. Then in December, Mercury in Scorpio, Sagittarius. That's going to affect your 5th and 6th house. That's clearer routines will start to blossom. Yay. Now let's talk about the Saturn and Neptune conjunction in Pisces in your house all year. That's your 9th house. So your belief systems will be tested this year, dear Cancer. Teachers will fall off their pedestals. Faith will become more personal for you. And when the Saturn goes retrograde, those old legal, immigration, or educational matters may resurface. So pay attention to those, because there's some issues going on with immigration. Now, Mars. Let's talk about what he's going to do in your life, dear Cancers. Now, he's going to test your emotional regulation in 2026. January and February, Mars in Sagittarius, 6th house. That's work conflicts and health stress. Then on February 23rd, Mars is going to enter Aquarius. That's your 8th house. That's financial or emotional power struggles. March 12th, Mars conjunct Rahu. That's an Angarak yoga. That's happening in your 8th house. Volatile shared resources, especially if you're fighting for an inheritance. April, Mars in Pisces, 9th house. Belief, confusion, and travel fatigue can happen during this time. May 11th, Mars in Aries. That's your 10th house. Career push can really happen here, so avoid burnout. June 20th through July 23rd, that is Mars in Taurus, 11th house. That can bring a lot of friend group tension. August, Mars in Gemini, your 12th house. Rest will be very essential for you during this time. September, Mars enters Cancer, 1st house. Emotional reactivity increases during this time, so take time out for rest. November, Mars is going to enter Leo. That's the 2nd house of money and values. So if there are some disputes in this area, take the leadership here. So Venus is the next planet, and he's going to bring a lot of emotional lessons in 2026, Shukra Devi. So in January, Venus in Sagittarius, your 6th house, that's going to bring work and health dissatisfaction. January 12th through February 5th, that's Venus in Capricorn, 7th house. That can bring coolness in your relationships. February 17th, that's the eclipse. Venus and Rahu will be together in your 8th house at Aquarius, and that can bring intense attraction and financial entanglements. So be sure to watch yourself during that time. And then April 23rd, we have a Venus-Uranus conjunction in Taurus, your 11th house. That can bring sudden shifts in your friendships. And then June 9th, Venus, Jupiter, and Cancer are all together in your 1st house. That can bring beauty, confidence, and blessings. And then on October and November, there's a retrograde. That is Venus going through Libra and Virgo, your 4th and 3rd houses. That can bring a family and communication review. And then late November, emotional harmony will improve. So let's talk about the eclipses for you this year. February 17th eclipse, that's going to bring a shared resources reset. The March 3rd eclipse, it's your 2nd house, income culmination. August 12th, that's solar eclipse in Cancer, massive identity reset. Like you're going to release a lot of emotional skins. You're just going to be an onion that time. Then on August 27th, that's your 8th house. A major final financial and emotional reckoning will take place. So really prepare for that August 27th eclipse, okay? So until December 5th, Rahu in the 8th and Ketu in the 7th, those are the nodes that cause eclipses. They're going to bring a lot of instability around money and truth-telling. After December 5th, Ketu is going to enter Cancer. That can bring some emotional detachment and spiritual maturity your way. So here are some remedies you can do with your Cancer. Monday moon rituals, salt baths after eclipses, feed women and children or the elderly. Those are all great things that you can do this year, because 2026 is the year you stop surviving and you start living as your true, authentic, and beautiful self. I hope that was helpful, Cancer. Now we move into Leo. So if you're just joining us, please go ahead and click on the sidereal chart calculator in the description if you're joining me from Facebook or YouTube. If you're joining me from Twitch, go to astrologicaltarot.com and click on the chart calculator. It's free, and figure out what your ascendant is. If you do not know your birth time, you can do it from your sun or your moon. Leo ascendants. If you are a Leo rising, 2026 is going to humble your ego so the heart can lead. So Ketu in Leo is going to bring, that's the South Node, a lot of identity dissolution for you. This is a karmic ego detox. Attention's going to fade so your authenticity can rise. So Ketu in Leo really coincides with the fall and rise of false kings and the rise of servant leaders. So we can look forward to that. And Mercury affects a lot of your creative work and partnerships this year, dear Leo. So in January and February, Mercury in Sagittarius and Capricorn, that's combust. That's going to create some blocks and some work confusion. The February-March retrograde, that's going to be Mercury in Aquarius, 7th house. You're going to be renegotiating your relationships. In April, Mercury enters Pisces. So that's going to bring a lot of emotional processing. So that's 8th house of really deep, dark stuff, okay? A lot of shadow work. Then June and July, retrograde. Mercury is going to go from Cancer to Gemini. That's your 12th and 11th houses. So you're going to revisit friendship and look at your spiritual goals from a new light. Then in August, Mercury and Jupiter are going to be in Cancer 12th house. That's going to give you some behind the scenes help. The October and November retrograde, that's Mercury in Libra 3rd house. That's going to bring communication revisions. So really pay attention to those contracts. And then December, Mercury, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, that's that 4th, 5th house axis. That's going to bring creative clarity returning your way. And it's also going to bring a lot of back and forth regarding your children. especially because it's going through those Gandantas. Okay, so Gandantas a spiritual knot. So pay attention to the kiddos and your creative projects during that time, because they can go through some major shifts. Now let's talk about how Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, your 8th house, is going to affect you. So there's some psychological debt, some trauma healing, some financial karma resurfacing. That is going to really affect from until June 1st, your gains through networks. Let's see, Jupiter's going to enter Cancer. That's June through October. That's going to bring some retreats and healing your way. And then Leo is, Jupiter's going to enter Leo, and that's after October 31st. And that's when your confidence returns and you can be a little bit wiser. So let's talk about how Mars is going to affect your life this year, dear Leo. So Mars is going to bring tests around pride and leadership. So January and February, Mars and Sagittarius, romantic drama and creative ego clashes can happen. February 23rd, Mars is going to enter Aquarius 7th house. A lot of relationship conflicts can come to a peak at this time. March 12th, Mars is going to conjunct Rahu. That forms an Angarak Yoga in your 7th house. Woo! There's going to be some volatility in your partnership. So really be careful of that. Then April, Mars in Pisces, that's your 8th house. A lot of emotional purging can take place. Then May 11th, Mars in Aries, 9th house, bold beliefs, and there could be some travel stress there as well. And a lot of energy towards your higher education, but beware of too much ambition. Then we have June 20th through July 23rd, we have Mars in Taurus. That's your 10th house. So that can bring some power struggles at work. October through September, Mars in Gemini and Cancer. That's your 11th and 12th house. That can bring some social fatigue. November 12th through the 14th, you have Mars in Leo 1st house, conjunct Jupiter and Ketu. Time for an ego death and a wisdom movement. Okay. Now, let's talk about how Venus reshapes your life and your destiny in 2026. He's going to work with love, money, and creativity in your life. So in January, Venus in Sagittarius, 5th house, that can bring some romantic confusion. January 12th through February 5th, Venus in Capricorn 6th, that's an imbalance in giving. So beware of people going, help me, and they don't really need it. February 17th, that's when the eclipse happens. Venus and Rahu in Aquarius, 7th house, that can bring seductive but very unstable relationships. So don't just jump into those sheets, okay? March, Venus enters Pisces, 8th house. That brings a lot of emotional depth, but you could lose yourself to illusions happening during that time. Be aware of that. April, that's April 23rd. Venus and Uranus conjunction in your 10th house can bring a little bit of a career surprise. So be aware of that. June 9th, Venus and Jupiter are going to be conjunct in your 12th house. That can bring a hidden blessing. July 10th, Venus and Ketu in Leo in your 1st house. That brings ego detachment and a karmic love. Yay. October, November, there's a retrograde going on with Venus through Libra and Virgo. That's going to be a communication and money review for you. So in late November, your self-worth will stabilize after going through all of these karmic resets, and you'll be able to kind of push through. Now let's talk about how the eclipses affect you. February 17th is going to bring forth a complete relationship reset for you. March 3rd, that eclipse, that's going to be a total identity culmination, and who you've been is complete. 12th, that eclipse, emotional closure, and be very aware of your spiritual life during that point. August 27th, that is in Aquarius, your 7th house. That's going to bring a financial and relationship truth your way. Basically, relationships are going to really show themselves for what they are. Now, here are some remedies for you, dear Leo. You can do sunrise Surya offerings. You can offer a little bowl of water under a tree or feed a tree in the morning. You can go Om Suryaye Namaha on Sundays. You can also do the Surya Namaskar, which are the sunrise exercises as the sun rises, which is the best time to do it. But really avoid ego-driven reactions during these eclipses because they're happening right on top of you, okay? There's a lot of leadership that you can do through service at this time, and that will really help please the sun energy there. So if you're just joining us, I am doing Ascendant, Sun, and Moon for 2026. Get those astro diaries out because I am going by planet how everything is going to affect you over the next year, by date as well. So let's get into Virgo Ascendant, Suns, and Moons. And if you don't know what your sidereal ascendant is, you can go to astrologicaltarot.com and go to chart calculator. It's free. So if you are a Virgo rising, 2026 teaches you that healing is not control, it's balance. Mercury is your ruler, and he's going to bring a major mental recalibration. So in January and February, that's Sagittarius to Capricorn, 4th and 5th house. He's also going to be combust and going through some wars. That's going to bring a lot of home and romance confusion. February and March, it's going to be a retrograde. That's Aquarius 6th house. That's work delays and issues with employees, servants, etc. There might be some hidden enemies there too. April, Mercury in Pisces 7th house. You might be over idealizing your partner. So take those rose-colored glasses off and look at them for who they are. June, July retrograde. So that's going to be in between Cancer and Gemini. That's what Mercury's doing. That can bring a lot of career and networking reassessment. Like, who am I talking to? What do I need to do to kind of change up how I show myself to the world and what my skills are? Then in August, Mercury and Jupiter are going to go conjunct Cancer 11th house. That can bring a lot of supportive alliances your way after you do that previous work. Then October and November, you have a retrograde. That's Mercury in Libra 2nd house. That can bring a lot of supportive alliances in addition to the October-November retrograde, which can bring a lot of financial planning review in your Libra 2nd house. So a lot of reviews going on there, but they're for your benefit. Then in December, we have Mercury in Scorpio Sagittarius, 3rd and 4th house. That's going to bring clearer communication. And then let's talk about how the retrogrades affect you. February 26th through March 20th retrograde, health and work recalibration. June 29th through July 23rd. That's when Cancer, he goes from Cancer and retrogrades into Gemini. That can bring a lot of emotional overload from others, so be careful of that. Don't take on other people's homework. October 24th through November 13th, that affects your 2nd house in Libra. That's going to be a lot of financial restructuring coming your way. Now let's talk about how Saturn and Neptune are affecting you this year. They're in Pisces 7th house. Relationships are going to demand some realism. Take off those rose-colored glasses and really look at your partner for who they are, because fantasies are about to dissolve. So be prepared for that. Okay, darling? Now let's look at eclipses for Virgo. We have a work-life balance. There can be some burnout awareness there. Mars is going to push you to set better boundaries. In January and February, Mars in Sagittarius, that's the 4th house of family tension. February 23rd, that is Mars in Aquarius, 6th house. That can bring work overload. March 12th, Mars conjunct Rahu, that forms an Anagarok in your 6th house. Burnout risk and issues with hidden enemies. Those frenemies that, pretend that they're there for you. Beware. Then we have April. That's Mars in Pisces. That can bring a lot of relationship frustration. So just take a step back, think before you speak, and read before you think. Then May 11th, Mars in Aries, that's your 8th house. That can bring a lot of emotional intensity. So just take some breaths, take a bubble bath, do what you can to kind of relax. June 20th through July 23rd, you have Mars in Taurus. That's your 9th house. That can bring a lot of belief rigidity. August, you have Mars in Gemini, 10th house. That creates career pressure. September, that's Mars in Cancer, 11th house. That's group conflicts. November, Mars in Leo. Rest is absolutely required because that is your 12th house. Okay, so just rest for the rest of the year. Okay, now let's look at how Venus is working with you, dear Virgo ascendants. He's going to teach you discernment in 2026, especially when it comes to relationships. So Venus in Sagittarius, 4th house, domestic dissatisfaction. January 12th through February 5th, be cautious in your romances. February 17th, there's an eclipse. There's going to bring some work entanglements there. March, that's Venus in Pisces. You're going to be idealizing your partners. April 23rd, there's going to be some sudden belief changes. June 9th, social blessings are coming your way. July 10th, there's a Venus Ketu conjunction in Leo. That's going to bring a lot of emotional release. October through November, that's the retrograde. That's Venus going between Libra and Virgo. That's going to be a self-worth reset for you. And then in late November, your confidence will return. Yay. So here are some remedies for Virgos. Nervous system care. absolutely essential, because a lot of disillusions are going to be lifted. The scales are going to come off your eyes, especially later in the year. Do some breath work like Vastrika, alternate nostril breathing, pranayama, things like that. And avoid contracts on Mercury station days. When Mercury is going retrograde or getting ready to go direct, do not do anything contractual. During the Mercury retrograde, it's okay if you're really careful, but when he's stationed or direct, it can cause a lot of problems. I'm speaking from experience. So 2026, dear Virgos, is teaching you that rest is productive. Now, if you're just joining us, I am giving 2026 readings per every single sign. This can be from your ascendant, your sun, or your moon. You can go to astrologicaltarot.com and type in chart calculator to find out what your sidereal signs are, and you can follow along. And you can do this for any planet. So let's go into Libra. So if you are a Libra rising, 2026 rewrites your relationship with love, including self-love. Now we have the Venus retrograde going on. That's important because he's the Lord. Venus rules Libra. So that can bring a lot of past relationships to the surface. They can resurface and go, hi, remember me? Like, yeah, let's bring out some closure and truth here. And then literally close that door. Okay. Now, Mercury this year is going to reshape communication and decision making for you. In January and February, Mercury in Sagittarius and Capricorn, 3rd and 4th, he's going to be combust, going through a lot of wars. There's going to be a lot of mixed messages, especially with siblings and home and communications and all that. It's just going to be a mess. But in February and March, he's going retrograde, and that can bring a lot of creative revisions that your way, because it's going to take place in your 5th house. Then in April, Mercury in Pisces, that's going to create a lot of health routines that need some clarity there for you. So yay for that. And then June and July, there's going to be the retrograde. That's, Cancer to Gemini. That's going to affect your 10th and your 9th house. And that's going to bring career plans that are going to need to be revised. And then in August, Mercury and Jupiter are going conjunct, and that's going to bring a lot of career growth your way. And then the October-November retrograde, that's going to bring a full identity reset for you, because it happens in your 1st house of who you are and how you project yourself. And then in December, Mercury is going to be in Scorpio and Sagittarius, and that's your 2nd and 3rd houses. So you're going to set very clear priorities for yourself and others toward the end of the year, which is very good. Now, Saturn and Neptune are both in Pisces all year, and they're going to affect your 6th house of daily routines, discipline, boundaries, frenemies. So focus on your health routines. Really pay attention to the people in your environment, and demand more discipline from yourself and others in your environment, and you'll be okay. Let's talk about how the eclipses are going to affect you. Okay, Libra, love versus community choices. Woo. Mars is going to expose a lot of imbalance in your relationships. January and February, Mars in Sagittarius, that's your 3rd house. That can bring some arguments, some sibling and neighbor issues, some miscommunications there. February 23rd, Mars enters Aquarius. That can bring some romantic drama your way. Issues with investments, children. March 12th, Mars conjunct Rahu, that forms an Anagara. That's risky decision making, especially when it comes to stocks, portfolios, your kids, and your creative projects. April, Mars in Pisces can bring some health stress your way. So he's really forcing you to be more disciplined in that area. May 11th, Mars is going to be in Aries. That can bring some confrontational partnerships in that 7th house for you. So don't just shrink into your shell and go, oh, let's just compromise, or, oh, it'll just go away. Literally, work through that with your partner and try to find a compromise that just comes naturally to you, but still remember to stick up for yourself, because I know it's a little harder for Libra ascendants. June 20th through July 23rd, Mars is going to enter Taurus. That's your 8th house. That can bring some financial entanglements, so be aware of that. August through September, Mars is going to be going back and forth. He's going to be in Gemini Cancer, so belief versus career stress. That's from Gemini to Cancer, 9th and 10th. And then Mars in Leo, 11th house, can bring some social power struggles. So, the queen bee in your group might rear her ugly head, and you might have to set some boundaries there. Okay? So Venus is going to govern your entire year, dear Libra. In January, Venus in Sagittarius, that in your 3rd house is going to cause some miscommunications. January 12th through February 5th, Venus in Capricorn, that can create some emotional distance, especially with family and mother. February 17th, that's a big eclipse. Risky romances. Be very careful there. Also, don't do any big financial investments for entertainment purposes only, but I'm serious. Also, be careful around the kiddos because the kiddos can be at risk during that time too. Venus in Pisces in your 6th happens in March. That can cause an overgiving nature, giving to wrong causes and things like that. So watch your money. April 23rd, there's a Venus-Uranus conjunction in Taurus. There could be a financial shock coming your way. So don't do anything crazy during April, especially on the 23rd. June 9th, Venus-Jupiter in Cancer, 10th house. There could be some more career support coming. I like that. July 10th, there's a Venus-Ketu conjunction in Leo. There's going to be a friend group detachment. It could be a whole group of people or a very close friend to you. So just be aware of it. That can happen around that time. October, November, there's a retrograde happening. That's Venus going from Libra to Virgo. There's going to be a full identity reset for you and who you are and what you stand for. November 22nd onward, Venus is going to be in Libra and your personal harmony will be restored. So my goodness, all of these karmic lessons throughout the year, but again, harmony will be restored by the end of the year. So be aware that, yeah, it's going to be a tumultuous year, but you got this. Now let's look at some remedies for Libra. Artistic expression, Friday fasting or simplicity, rose or copper offerings are also are a good thing. You can also put flowers on your altar, things like that. But if you choose authenticity this year, dear Libra, harmony will definitely follow you. So keep that in mind. Now, if you're just joining us, my name is Michelle Marie. If you go to astrologicaltarot.com and click on chart calculator and figure out your ascendant, I am going through ascendant Aries through Pisces for the entire 2026 year by planet and by date. So get those astro diaries out and you can come back and look up your ascendant sun or moon and we can go ahead and get ready for the year. So let's talk about Scorpio. So if you're a Scorpio rising, 2026 transforms your roots and your transformation, and especially when it comes to transformation regarding reputation. So there's going to be a lot of creative and emotional maturity required from you. Okay, dear Scorpio. The eclipses are going to bring a lot of home and career pivots for you. So be prepared for that. And Mars is going to accelerate a lot of deep transformation. In January and February, Mars is going to create a lot of money and speech conflicts. On February 23rd, he's going to enter Aquarius. That can cause some home tensions. When he enters, when he conjuncts Rahu in your 4th house, that can bring a lot of family volatility, and that's on March 12th. So be aware of that. On April, he enters Pisces, and that's going to be your 5th house of emotional intensity and love. On May 11th, he's going to enter Aries. That's going to bring a productivity surge. We like that. On June 20th through July 23rd, he's going to bring some relationship conflicts your way, so prepare for those. In August, he's going to enter Gemini. That's going to bring a lot of psychological breakthroughs for you. In September, he's going to enter Cancer. That's going to bring a lot of belief challenges your way, travel issues, and philosophical misunderstandings. Okay. November, Mars is going to enter Leo. That's going to bring a lot of career action. So that's a good time to get involved in that. Now let's look at Mercury in your chart. So Mercury, dear Scorpio, focuses on money, home, and inner dialogue for you this year. In January and February, Mercury in Sagittarius and Capricorn, that affects your 2nd and 3rd house. He's going to be combusted, going through wars. That's going to create a lot of financial confusion for you. February and March, he's going retrograde. He's going to be in Aquarius 4th house. A lot of home discussions are going to resurface and some issues in and around that. In April, Mercury is going to affect your 5th house in Pisces. That can bring romantic idealism. Take off those rose-colored glasses. Look at things for what they are. I know you're good at that. You're good researchers, Scorpios. June and July is going to go retrograde between Cancer and Gemini. That's your 9th and 8th houses. That's going to bring belief in legal matters. They're going to need to be reviewed. August, Mercury and Jupiter in Cancer, that's your 9th house, going to bring some wisdom and guidance. October and November, there's a retrograde going on. So Mercury in Libra 12, you need to take a mental rest. That is the time to do so, okay? December, Mercury and Scorpio and Sagittarius, that's your 1st and your 2nd. A lot of your confidence is going to return. Now let's talk about Venus bringing very deep relational lessons your way this year. In January, Venus in Sagittarius is going to bring a lot of money dissatisfaction because it's affecting your second house, and there's a lot of wars going on there and combustions. January 12th through February 5th, you need to really guard your speech. Pay attention to what you're saying. February 17th, that's a big eclipse. That's going to affect your fourth house. That's going to bring some home instability there. So be aware of that. March, that's going to bring some romantic fantasy because he's going to enter Pisces. April 23rd, Venus and Uranus are going to go conjunct in Taurus 7th house. That will bring sudden relationship shifts for you. So prepare for that. June 9th, Venus and Jupiter in Cancer. That's 9th house. Yay, spiritual blessings. I like that for you. It's a good time to meditate, maybe take on a new practice. And then July 10th, Venus in Ketu. That can bring some career detachment, reassessment there. October, November, there's a retrograde because Venus is going in between Libra and Virgo. That can bring a hidden emotional review for you because that's 12th and 11th house. It's also going to parse out some of those friendships a little bit. And then late November, you're going to have clearer alliances after you've kind of thinned out who's there for you and who isn't when it comes to your alliances. Okay? So some remedies. Ancestor prayers are really big for you this year. And sesame oil lamps for Saturn on Saturdays are very good as well as Hanuman Chalisa or Om Pram Prim Pram Sa Shanishwaraya Namaha. That is Shani's Bija mantra, and you can do that on Saturdays 108 times via a mala, and that can be very helpful for you. Okay, dear Scorpio. Now, if you're just joining us, this is for Sagittarius Ascendant. And we are going through each and every single sign for 2026 before I go into readings. And you can look up your chart via my free chart calculator at astrologicaltarot.com. And if you're joining me on Facebook or on YouTube, you can go ahead and just click the link. It's right there in the description. Okay, so Sagittarius, we're almost done, guys. You're doing great. If you are a Sagittarius rising, 2026 turns the teacher into the students. Big year for you Sagittarians. So Jupiter is your ruler, dearest Sagittarian ascendants, moons, and suns. Gemini, he is going to be in your Jupiter and Gemini, he's going to be in your 7th house, and that's going to bring a lot of revolution regarding your relationships and some blessings their way. I love it when he's in my 7th house personally. He's in my 7th house naturally. It's fantastic. I got a good hubby. Cancer in the 8th, that's shared resources and intimacy. And then he goes into Leo in the 9th. That is when your wisdom is really going to mature. And that's toward the end of the year. Okay. So let's look at the eclipses for you, Sagittarius. It's the same as the United States of America. So publishing is going to be affected. Higher education, foreign travel and relations, belief shifts, neighbors, siblings, communications, immigration. All those things we're feeling now because the eclipses have already started. 3rd, 9th axis is pretty intense. So my heart is with you. So pay attention to what's going on in the United States because it pretty much is going to mirror your life when it comes to the eclipses. Okay, because you have the same placement as the US. Now, Mercury is going to shape your identity and your resources this year, Sagittarians. So in January and February, Mercury is going to be going from Sagittarius to Capricorn. He's going to be combusting, going through wars that can bring self-doubt and money confusion. February and March, he's going to be going retrograde. That is Mercury in Aquarius. That's going to form a lot of communication breakdowns, issues with siblings, overall problems with neighbors, things like that. In April, Mercury in Pisces is going to bring a lot of emotional processing your way. So go in during that time and pay attention to real estate and mom. June through July, there's a retrograde going on. That's between Cancer and Gemini. That's going to bring a lot of partnership negotiations because that's between 8th and 7th. Also, if there's an inheritance going on, it could be a little bit back and forth, especially if you're married. In August, Mercury and Jupiter, that's 8th house. That brings financial insights your way, as well as inheritances and things that way. There's things that need more of your attention, especially financially. And then October and November, there's going to be a retrograde. That's Mercury in Libra in the 11th. That's a whole friendship reassessment. Okay, you're going to be really pruning out who's there for you and who's not. And they usually make themselves pretty much known, which is good. And then in December, Mercury is going to be going back and forth between your 12th and your 1st. That's Scorpio to Sagittarius. That's when clarity will return for you. yay. But my goodness, are you going through it? Now, let's talk about Mars for you, dear Sagittarians. He's going to energize and agitate your identity at the same time. So in January and February, he's going to be in your first house. So it's going to be like a lot of impatience and impulsive actions. Then by February 23rd, he's going to enter Aquarius. That can bring some communication conflicts your way. And then March 12th, Mars conjunct Rahu in your third house can bring reckless speech. So be aware of that. Mars in Pisces' fourth house can bring family stress, and that's in April. By May 11th, Mars in Aries can also bring some creative passion your way, which is really fun. So if you have like a creative project that you're working on, you're going to get a lot of energy for it, and that's May 11th. All the way until June 20th, July 23rd, you're going to have Mars in Taurus. That can bring a little strain at work, but you're just putting all of those things together that you worked on creatively before. And then in August, Mars in Gemini, that can bring some relationship arguments. So take a step back, realize this is Mars, this is my warrior, he's taking front and center stage. Just take a deep breath during that month, during August, okay? Then you're going to enter September, Mars in Cancer. That's going to bring a lot of emotional intensity, issues with inheritances and money. So pay attention to those areas. In November, Mars enters Leo, and that's a lot of belief-driven action. If you really want to pursue philosophical pursuits or new ways of thinking and being, that is the time to do it because it's fully supported. Now, Venus, what's that going to do for you this year, dear Sagittarian ascendants, suns and moons? It's going to reshape your identity and your values. From January 1st to the 12th, Venus in Sagittarius is combust. That can create some identity confusion. January 12th through February 5th, some financial restraints going to be needed. That's Venus in Capricorn second. Then by February 17th, that's when we have the eclipse. There's going to be a Venus-Rahu conjunction in addition to the eclipse, and that can bring a lot of misleading communications your way. So just like take a step back and be like, maybe I'm not understanding this, or they're not understanding that, and don't take things too personally. Then in March, Venus is going to enter Pisces. That's your fourth house. So that's going to bring a lot of emotional longing, feelings of home, and just wanting to improve the home. April 23rd, Venus and Uranus are going to be conjunct in Taurus, your sixth house. That can bring a lot of work disruption, frenemies, issues in that with people that work for you, things like that. So just take a step back and realize, oh, it's just Venus and Uranus getting together, okay? Then on June 9th, Venus and Jupiter join together, Cancer 8th house. That's shared resources and growth. So that's a good thing for you. On July 10th, you have Venus in Ketu 9th house. That's going to bring a lot of belief shifts. It's also going to cause issues with travel. And so be very careful of that. And if you are in some kind of like immigration shift or you're working on that, don't do it during that time because it's not going to be as successful. Okay. And then October through November, that's the retrograde. It's when Venus goes between debilitation and his own sign. That's going to bring a real career value review. So you're going to be relooking your contacts, your networks. You're going to be reassessing your career. It's kind of going to be a back and forth time for you in October and November. And then late November, stability is going to improve because Venus is in out of Virgo and fully in Libra, and he's not retrograde anymore, which is fantastic. So some remedies for you, dear Sagittarians, is you can do charity on Thursdays. You can do mentorship. You can make yellow offerings like bananas and things like that to Brihaspati at your altar. And one of the best simple mantras that you can do on Thursdays is Om Guruve Namaha. Om Guruve Namaha. Om Guruve Namaha. And that's honoring the guru within. And if that's your ascendant, you're already a guru. So you're strengthening yourself and your resolve. Okay. So if you're just joining us, I'm Michelle Marie, astrologicaltarot.com. I'm going through each and every sign for the year. So whether you want to review this as your ascendant, your sun, your moon, or even your Mahadasha Lord, this is the place to do it. So we are now going into Capricorn, ascendant, sun, rising, moon, all of that. Okay, so if you are a Capricorn rising, 2026 prepares you for a complete new destiny cycle. So there's going to be a lot of authority and identity transformations for you because Pluto is in Capricorn. I call him Yama. That's also going to cause health issues. So if you have an ascendant in Capricorn and you've been having health issues basically since COVID, that's why Pluto's going through you right now. So that explains a lot, okay? Now let's talk about the eclipse. Rahu's going to enter Capricorn on December 5th. That is going to bring an 18-year karmic chapter in your life. It's going to completely reset everything for you. So be prepared by December 5th, okay, dear Capricorn? Those are the big two things. The eclipses are going to affect your 2nd house and 8th house axis. So that's financial restructuring, speech, food, inheritances, things like that. Okay. And then let's talk about Mercury for you, dear Capricorns. In January and February, Mercury is going to be between Sagittarius and Capricorn. He's going to be combust in a lot of wars. So there could be a lot of mental fatigue for you, especially early in the year. But by February and March, there's a retrograde going on, and that's when you can make some financial planning revisions. And in April, Mercury is going to enter Pisces. That can bring some confusing conversations. So just be aware that that 3rd house might be a little watery for you. And then June and July, there's a retrograde happening in Mercury. It's going to be going back and forth between Cancer and Gemini. That can bring relationship agreements that need to be renewed or reviewed. Okay, so because that's your 7th and 6th house. So whether it's people who work for you or partnerships that you have, business partnerships and romantic partnerships, they kind of need to go under the microscope a little bit. Okay. Then in August, Mercury and Jupiter are going to be together in Cancer, and that can bring a lot of supportive partnerships. So after you do that review in the previous months, it will pay off. October and November, there's going to be a retrograde. Mercury is going to be in Libra. That affects your 10th house of career messaging. So there's going to be some revisions going on there. And in December, Mercury is going to be going back and forth between Scorpio and Sagittarius, 11th, 12th house. That's going to bring a lot of mental closure. Yay, we all need that. Now let's talk about Mars for you. Okay, Capricorn, so that's going to bring a lot of responsibility and authority your way. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, so it's a good placement. So in January and February, that can bring some exhaustion because, oh my goodness, the wars. Then we go into February 23rd, there's going to bring some money disputes. March 12th onward, Mars is going to go conjunct Rahu. That forms an Anagarok. Ooh, some harsh speech, some issues with your savings accounts, food, that area. So when it comes to the mouth, speech, and also savings account, be very aware of those areas. Okay, Capricorn? In April, Mars in Pisces, that's going to bring some communication frustration. Then we go to May 11th, Mars enters Aries. That can bring domestic conflict. Then on June 20th through July 23rd, Mars is going to be in Taurus. That can bring some stubbornness in your creativity, but it can also bring a lot of discipline there. So take advantage of that. And then in August, Mars is going to enter Gemini. That can bring some workload spikes and issues with people that work for you. But you will be able to defeat people that are doing stuff behind your back. So that's good. September, that brings Mars in Cancer. That brings relationship conflict. He's not very happy there. It's the opposite you. He's exalted in Capricorn and he's debilitated in Cancer. So just be aware of your relationships in August all the way through September when he... So in August and September, that's workload spikes, relationship conflicts. So just be aware of those just in general during that time. Then in November, Mars enters Leo. That can bring some power struggles, but it can also help you stand up and be a leader in your life. Okay. Now, Venus, dear Capricorn, is going to test your emotional vulnerability. In January, Venus is going to be in Sagittarius. That's your 12th house. That's going to bring a lot of hidden longing. January 12th through February 5th, Venus is Capricorn, 1st house. That is reserved self-expression. February 17th, that's an eclipse. Then Venus and Rahu are going to go conjunct, and that's going to bring some money illusions. Capricorns, you're good with your money. Don't do self stupid, okay? Especially if it's too good to be true. March, Venus in Pisces. Lots of confusing conversations all the way through April 23rd. Just we'll take a step back and reevaluate your speech and what's going on and those emails, etc. June 9th, there's a Venus-Jupiter conjunction in Cancer. That's your 7th house of relationship blessings. July 10th, there's a Venus P2 conjunction in Leo. That's your 8th house. That's going to bring some emotional detachment. October, November, there's going to be a retrograde. That's Venus in Libra and Virgo, back and forth. There's going to be a whole career evaluation during that time, and it's going to really question your belief systems around that. You might even look into some higher education. And then in the late November, direction will completely clarify. All of that work you did in the previous months will start to come together and form a cohesive narrative for you moving into 2027. So here are some remedies for you, dear Capricorn. Keep that disciplined routine. You're already a rock star at it. Saturday services are very good. Of course, there's Seva, which is basically karma yoga. It's doing things for other people without expectation of reward. That's a very good thing you can do this year. And be very mindful of your speech this year and also of your finances, those savings accounts. Don't do anything dumb, okay? We've all been there. We've all made bad investments, but this year is going to be a little more critical for you, okay, dear Capricorn? Now, here's something that you can kind of take with you as a mantra. Power earned through integrity lasts. So if something is too good to be true, don't jump on it this year. Now, if you're just joining us, my name is Michelle Marie, and we are broadcasting from astrologicaltarot.com. If you go there, you can click on a chart calculator and find out what your ascendant, moon, or rising is. And I'm giving full readings for 2026 before I do readings tonight. So go ahead and look up that chart calculator. And this could be from, again, your rising, your sun, your moon, or your Mahadasha Lord. Any of your planets can be affected by the eclipses this year. Mahadasha Lord determines timing. If you're not sure what that is, you can schedule a reading with me. Okay, so Aquarius ascendants, moons, and suns. So if you're an Aquarius rising, especially 2026 is going to be your year of reckoning and renewal. There's an eclipse axis between Aquarius and Leo happening. I'm an Aquarius moon. I'm right there. I got a Leo husband. So you are ground zero when it comes to collective change. February 17th, there's a solar eclipse. That's going to bring a full identity reset for you. March 3rd, there's a lunar eclipse. That's going to bring a lot of relationship truths and resets there as well. And then August 27th, there's a big lunar eclipse, and that's going to bring final self-definition your way. So holy upheavals for you guys. And my moon's there, so I'm right there with you. So Mercury is going to be especially active for you because he is going retrograde this year in Aquarius. So January and February, Mercury is going to be in Sagittarius and Capricorn. He's going to be combust. He's going to create a ton of social confusion with your networks, with the people in your life. He's going to be a lot of thinning when it comes to the people that you trust and don't trust. And your spirituality is going to be tested a little bit, but just really focus on who you are as a soul, and you're going to get through it. By February 26th through March 20th, there's going to be a retrograde in Mercury in Aquarius, first house. So that's identity and decisions are going to be reassessed. If it's on your moon, it's going to be your emotions. If it's your sun, it's going to be ego, Venus, relationships, etc. Okay. Then in April, Mercury in Pisces, that's in your second house, Aquarius. That's going to bring unclear finances. So be very careful during that time. June and July, retrograde. That's Mercury going between Cancer and Gemini. That's that 6th and 5th house. So there's going to be some health and creativity revisions, issues with children, addition to, finances and speculation, especially the stock market, and some frenemies may surface. And then in August, Mercury and Jupiter are getting together in Cancer 6th house. That's going to improve your routines and help you defeat hidden enemies. We like that. And then October and November, there's a retrograde going on with Mercury and Libra. You're going to get a belief system update because that affects your 9th house. So if you're looking to take a class or expand your spiritual connections, that is the time to do it. December, Mercury is going from Scorpio to Sagittarius. That affects your 10th and 11th house. That's going to bring clearer goals to your networking and your career goals moving into 2027. I love that for you, Aquarian. Okay. Now let's talk about how Mars affects you, Aquarius. 2026 is going to be very volatile, but catalytic for you. What does that mean? In January and February, Mars in Sagittarius is going to bring group conflicts. There's wars going on. Then February 23rd, Mars enters Aquarius. A lot of impatience is going to arise from all that conflict from the first 2 months. You're like, what the heck was that? And then by March 12th, Mars is going to form an Anagarak in your first house. Do not rush yourself. Take your time. This affects your first house. It can lead to accidents. Pay attention on the road, where you're putting your feet. Be present and be as grounded as you possibly can. Do a spiritual morning practice if necessary to avoid accidents. So this is March 12th into April, okay? In April, Mars is going to enter Pisces. It could lead to some money stress. May 11th, Mars enters Aries. Watch your words. That's third house. Relationships with siblings, neighbors. Zip it before you just let things out, okay? And then June 20th through July 23rd, Mars is going to be in Taurus, fourth house. That can bring a lot of home tension your way. August, Mars in Gemini, that's fifth house, holy romantic drama. You got this. Take a step back. Practice active listening with your partner, and that can help you because your speech is going to be affected this year. Then you have Mars in Gemini, fifth house. Like that's what I said, speech. And then September, Mars in Cancer, sixth house. That can bring more of a health focus your way. November, oh, and also Mars in Cancer can also bring out frenemies, and you're going to want to focus on those health routines during that time too, okay? November, Mars is entering Leo. That can bring partnership, power struggles. So work toward a disciplined relationship with your partner rather than just reacting during that time, okay? So I told you Mars was going to cause a little bit of volatility, but you've got this. Now, Venus is going to play a pivotal role for you in 2026, Aquarians. Venus is going to be in Sagittarius in January. That can bring some disappointment in friends, okay? January 12th through the 5th, Venus in Capricorn, 12th house. That's going to bring withdrawal because you're like, who am I and why did I attract these people, okay? February 17th, there's going to be an eclipse. Venus and Rahu, that's going to be on your first house. That's going to bring magnetic but unstable attractions. So don't just kind of jump into new networks and people. Take a step back and really do some introspection during that time. Venus is going to enter Pisces in March. That's going to bring some financial fog. So don't do anything impulsive during that time. April 23rd, Venus in Uranus. That in Uranus are going to create a conjunction that can bring a lot of home changes. So you might want to get an astrocartography reading before that hits. I should mention that Venus in Pisces isn't the worst thing, especially in the second house, but it can bring some fog because Neptune is there. So you'll want to pay attention to the dates, okay? Now, June 9th, Venus and Jupiter, that is sixth house, Cancer. That can bring some improved health routines, and it can totally defeat hidden enemies. I love that. If you have pets at home, that's really good for pets. July 10th, Venus and Ketu, they're going to be conjunct in Leo, seventh house. That's a huge karmic partnership release for you. Yay. And then October and November, there's the retrograde going on. Venus is going in between Libra and Virgo. That's going to bring huge belief shifts in your area, philosophical changes. If there's a chronic illness that you're dealing with, Venus can help you with that as well. And it'll get a lot better by late November, which is going to bring a lot of emotional and clarity, and also clarity with your health and any kind of chronic illness that you might be dealing with, okay? And then Mercury, just the long transit for Mercury is there's going to be a lot of mental fatigue, and you might feel a little overstimulated because he's going to be spending a lot of time in Aquarius this year, okay? So really take time out for your mental health. Do what you can to stay stable and grounded. Now, some remedies for Aquarius. Any grounding exercise that you do, whether it's walking on the beach or going for a hike or doing breathing exercises or a mantra or japa practice, any kind of sadhana or spiritual practice that makes you feel grounded and rooted, it focuses on that Mudlahara, eating healthy foods, and integrating new routines that help you mind, body, and soul are just going to be really good for you this year because you're getting eclipse, sweetie. And then community. You're learning community without martyrdom. You're setting boundaries with people. Like, I don't have to set myself on fire to make you warm. That's the main theme for you this year, Aquarius. It's kind of a big one. I know my moon is there, okay? So you're not here to save the world. You're just part of it. So realize that you don't have to be everyone's savior, and that you have your own little niche in the world that you're responsible for, and don't spread your resources too thin. Okay, honey? Now, last but not least, we're getting to Pisces ascendants, suns, moons, and Mahadasha Lord. If you're not sure what your sidereal placements are, you can go to astrologicaltarot.com and go to Chart Calculator. It's absolutely free to look up your ascendant, moon, and sun and follow along. The ascendant is, of course, your body, who you are in the world, like what you came to do. Your moon is your inner emotional state and who you are on the inside, and your sun is your ego and how you shine. Okay? And then Mahadasha Lord, you can contact me for a reading and I can tell you all about it. So, if you're a Pisces rising, 2026 demands that you live your spirituality. This is a year of practical spirituality for you, dear Pisces. So illusions are going to fall and responsibility is going to rise, especially if you're a Pisces moon, because you're going to be going through full sati sati. If you're not sure what that means, contact me for remedies, because the reality is about to hit you like a ton of bricks. I just went through it as an Aquarius moon. Holy Godsmack. It was crazy. So this transit marks the end of any escapism that you've been living in and the beginning of embodiment. So you're taking off those rose-colored glasses and you're going to look at the world for what it really is, not how you want it to be. So these are the eclipses. They're going to invite healthy routines, rest, and service recalibration. You might have been given to a lot of bad people. It's time for you to take a step back and look at where your money's going and where you're spending your time, okay? Mercury this year, dear Pisces, is going to activate your career, your identity, and your communication. So in January and February, Mercury is going to affect your 10th and 11th houses. It's going to be combust. It's going to cause a ton of career confusion and networking challenges. From February and March, there's going to be a retrograde. That's Mercury in Aquarius. That's 12th house. There's going to be a need for mental retreat. In April, Mercury in Pisces, that's first house. He's going to be conjunct Neptune and Saturn. That can bring intuitive thinking, but also a little fog. So be aware of that because it can cause some illusions. Great dreams, though. June and July, there's going to be a retrograde. That's when Mercury's going in between Cancer and Gemini. That affects your 5th and 4th houses. That's your creative works, your children, any stocks or speculations that you're doing, and family revisions as well. And then in August, Mercury and Jupiter are getting together in Cancer. That's going to bring a lot of joyful expression. We love that. In October and November, he's going to go retrograde in your 8th house. That's going to bring a lot of emotional reprocessing and create some conclusions and reevaluations regarding inheritances and other people's money. In December, Mercury is going to enter Scorpio and Sagittarius. That's your 9th and 10th houses. And that's when your direction really clarifies as far as career and philosophy for you. Now, Mars this year, dear Pisces, is going to bring a lot of clarity, but it's going to come with a little bit of friction, just like all the other signs, because that's what Mars is doing this year. There's no retrograde for Mars. He's just going full steam ahead and getting all the work done. So in January and February, he's going to be in Sagittarius. That's your 10th house. It's going to create some career pressure, but it's going to give you a lot of energy there. February 23rd, he's going to enter Aquarius. That's 12th house, fatigue. Take a break. Sleep more if you have to. Go to bed a little earlier. March 12th, he's going to go conjunct Rahu, forming an Anagarok in your 12th house. That's a burnout warning. If you hadn't taken the rest in February, you're definitely going to feel it in March. April 2nd to the 18th, Mars in Pisces, that's going to be in your 1st house, conjunct Neptune and Saturn. That is when the true exhaustion sets in and there's going to be a full identity reset. So please take heed that in February you need to take a rest, okay? Now, May 11th, Mars in Aries, that's going to bring some money conflicts because that's your 2nd house. Also with speech and standing up for yourself via speech. And then May 11th, Mars, June 20th through the July 23rd, Mars is going to be in Taurus. That's going to bring some communication stresses your way. It can also bring issues with neighbors or siblings. So just take a step back and use your spiritual practices to help you through that. And then in August, Mars is going to affect your 4th house. Now that can bring out family arguments, especially with mother, home, or real estate. So from August through September, just be aware of that. In September, Mars is going to enter Cancer, and that's going to bring some emotional passion your way. Mars in Cancer is not too bad for you, but it's important that because he's debilitated, that you're not giving in too quickly and that you are paying attention to those emotions. And then in November, Mars hits Leo. That is when your work demands are going to increase, and you may have some issues with people who work with you, okay? Now, Venus this year, dear Pisces, is going to be deeply impactful for you. In January, Venus in Sagittarius affects your 10th house. That can bring some career dissatisfaction. January 12th through February 5th, that's Venus in Capricorn 11th house. That can cool off those friendships. And really, actually, Venus, that can actually bring some really good networking opportunities your way. So take advantage of that. February 17th, though, is when you want to be careful. There's a Venus Rahu conjunction in Aquarius. That's the 12th house. That can bring out secret attachments, issues that are hidden that you kind of need to deal with there. And then March 1st through the 25th, you have Venus in Pisces. That's your first house. That's going to be conjunct Neptune and Saturn. That is when your romantic idealism meets reality. You're going to start to peel those scales off and start to see things for what they are for the first time in a long time. Because by April 23rd, there's going to be a Venus-Uranus conjunction in your third house. And that's going to bring those sudden conversations forth. Like, what's going on here? If you have siblings, it's going to bring conversations among them, neighbors, people in and around your immediate environment. That's going to really open your eyes and start to peel those scales off. And then on June 9th, there is a Venus-Jupiter conjunction in your fifth house. Love, creativity, your children's lives, they're really going to flourish during that time. So yay for you during the June month. And then on July 10th, there's going to be a Venus-Ketu conjunction in Leo's sixth house. That can bring a lot of detachment from those draining routines and help you set some boundaries in those areas. October and November, you're going to experience the retrograde. That's Venus and Libra going back and forth between Libra and Virgo. That's going to bring a big relationship review and also reviews regarding any inheritances or money matters. And also chronic illness. So if you're dealing with something there, things are going to get a lot better in late November because harmony is going to return in those areas. Okay? You know, finances, health, we all want that. So here are some remedies for you, dear Pisces, moving into 2026. Create a daily structure for yourself. Meditation, but do so in a grounding way. Don't just let yourself float off like a balloon. I know it's hard because you're able to access all these realms, but try to stay here and take the messages that you're getting from above and use them practically. Because Saturn going over your moon is basically taking your emotional state and creating this huge reset for you. And then charity to the ill or the unhoused, because there's going to be a lot of that in 2026, is going to be very supported. You're already good at that, so I don't have to tell you that. But 2026, dear Pisces, doesn't ask who you were, it asks who you're willing to become. So that is my assessment for all of the signs for 2026. I hope that you found that helpful. It's a lot. And I hope you got your diaries out and that you were able to follow along and really, really do that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the comments now. Thank you for staying with me. That was a lot. That was a long, a lot of work. You can tell I've been very busy. And so, Venus, hi, lovely. It's good to see you. Speaking of Venus, Venus is very active this year. And then, yes, replaying is important. I went through every single sign. And then once this is published on YouTube, I'm going to go through and I'm going to create chapters. So you can click on Aries and Taurus and Pisces, and you can go through each and every sign for the year. I basically gave you guys a full astrological deep dive with dates, times, retrogrades, everything you can expect based on your sun, your moon, your rising, whatever you identify with in your chart the most. And you're welcome, Venus. I'm so glad that you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for your encouragement. Yeah, I've been very busy the past few days. And yeah. Oh, and thank you, Isaiah. I have a Venus rising. So that's why I look like this. It's Venus, it's not me. And then, oh, thank you. I love my jewelry too. It's like, actually, this is a gift from my hubby, Jonathan. So, and then, yes, and I mostly do readings for people in the chat, but I wanted to cover, that's why I put 2026 readings for every single sign before I got started so that I was able to go through all of those for you all. Okay. And then let's see. I'm just looking at some of your comments. And I just, okay. You guys have a lot of really great stuff. Oh, I'm glad that you find this fascinating. That's wonderful. And then if you ever need help with your chart, I'm right here. So I'm on every Monday, and then I'm also available for consultations as well. So, and then, oh, okay. So I'm glad that you feel the clients are aligned for you. And lots of great comments. Thank you guys so much. Oh, and Venus, you're a Capricorn rising, so I'm glad that you were able to get something out of that. Oh, and thank you. I love my necklace and earrings too. Thank you so much. And if you guys need to ask, and people ask me that all the time. They ask if I'm AI. I'd be a lot prettier if I were AI. So I appreciate Silly Cat. You're not the only person to say that. They're like, "Are you AI?" No, I'm real. I'm here. Actually, I burnt myself a little bit earlier, so I guess that's proof that I can be harmed. So. And then thank you for stopping by, Janet. And I do readings. So if you guys have readings, oh, Sagittarius moon. Okay, there you go, Venus. And yes, you can go to my my website and you can schedule a reading from me there. Venus, you're so sweet. And yeah, I did all signs tonight. So, and I did cover Leo. So you can look at that. And all of my information is in the description. So thank you so much for joining me. That was so much fun. I'm just going to go through and look at some of the comments that are coming. And oh yeah, Jonathan should have a blue wrench, huh? Jackie's. I can't find him apparently on there. So, and then yeah. So if you guys have any questions, and thank you for joining us, everybody. And Jenna, okay, I did cover all of the signs. So I did get the story for 2026. You guys can go back and click on any of those. But yeah, good to see you, Shem. Oh, and Sue Tuffy, reading for Garnet. Okay. We got a reading for Garnet. And I'm going to go ahead and look in here. So if Garnet, if you have a reading, sweetie, go ahead and ask your question. And Sutafi is a new member. Thank you so much for joining us, Sutafi. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Blessings to you, sweetheart. And Hershey the Shadow Reader, thank you so much for joining us. It is absolutely lovely to see you. So, Indamala, it's lovely to see you as well. You can ask for a reading. I'm only going to do a couple for tonight because that was a lot of information and a lot of homework that I did for you guys. I just wanted to do 2026 in general. So Garnet Love, go ahead and ask your question, and I will go ahead and get that for you. If you're not here, because I did a 2026 overview tonight, we can get you next time. Oh, and thank you, Jackie. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was kind of my service to humanity for the night. So you guys go ahead and get your, I actually have a journal. I'll show it to you guys. It's right here. This is my Astro journal. It's in Spanish because I live in Mexico. And it is all of like, this is just the month of January. So that's January. And then what I do is I look at my own chart and Jonathan's chart, and I'm going to go through every single day and then, point out what the planets are doing and what's going on. And I do that every year. So it really helps figure out kind of what's going on. So lots of wars are going on in January. That's why I'm keeping track of that. It's going to be an interesting month. Okay, so your question for Garnet: can my spiritual growth and direction? You got it. Well, I don't have your chart, sweetie, but I will go ahead and pull some cards for you. And let's see. Okay, they have you focused on the 4th house, the 3rd house, and Mercury. Okay, well, Mercury is going to be going through a lot this year, dear Garnet. So when it comes to your spiritual growth and direction, the 4th house is home, family, nurturing yourself. I know you're a beautiful gardener, so really focusing on that for your grounding techniques. The 3rd house is all about how you communicate with others, your neighbors and siblings. And then Mercury is, again, that is the planet of communication and intellect. So Spirit's going to be really working with you in that area and reaching you through the divine. Now, I believe it's divine and the soul lives in every single one of us. And so pay attention to people who help you with those fourth and third house matters, communications, home, what makes you feel grounded. And I got the Four of Wands for you this year, Garnet. This is a very good card. What is the Four of Wands? It's the marriage card. It's the celebration card. It's being invited to events, really having a good time. So I see some really great things in these areas for you that are going to help you ground and connect with new people and improve your communications. So your spiritual growth and direction are going to be along those avenues. That's the main thing that I see for you. So I'm kind of excited. That's some good stuff. And then let me pull something for, hi, Jane. Good to see you, sweetheart. Okay, so you're going to need to balance your ego and your inner emotional state. The Temperance card reversed also indicates that you're going to want to watch substances in your life, how much you're taking, not taking, looking at medications, things that make you feel less or more balanced. You want to feel more balanced this year, especially in the areas of home, grounding, communication, and being invited to those beautiful events where you can celebrate life and achievements with others. But you're going to need to balance your inner emotional state in those settings with what you're projecting and what you're showing to the rest of the world. Okay, sweetie? And then you'll have a much more successful spiritual journey in 2026. And I hope that was helpful. Okay, so, oh my goodness, what do you see for my health? Okay, Daniela, I will go ahead and pull a quick card for you as well. And then I want to check out in about 2 hours so that I have some shorts that I can share with you guys later for those who don't want to watch the whole thing. And I will put chapters in the chat as well so that you guys can come back and get your calendars out like I do with my journal and mark down those dates and what they mean to you incoming. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, Daniela, you have a lot of things happening in your 8th house. This is the house of chronic illness, finances, health, and overall financial outlook. Okay, big transformations coming your way. Phoenix moments are coming for you in 2026. It's going to be okay. I got the Justice card, so make sure that you're following your Dharma and doing the right thing. But you're going to really need to watch the money, material assets, and especially your health this year. Okay, sweetie, because I got the Queen of Pentacles reversed. What that tells me is that if you find some balance in this area through the transformation that's coming your way, you'll be able to better handle these areas into the future. Okay, sweetie? So that's the main thing that I got for you. And I hope that was helpful. All right. Oh, yes, balance and equilibrium. I'm glad that you thought that was good, Garnet. Oh, wonderful. And oh, thank you, Mary. Lovely to have you there. And then I was actually raised with Western, and I switched over to Vedic in 2018. And I got my 4-year degree through Komilla Sutton, Komilla.com. She's an amazing teacher and guru. And I got, 5 years of study, and then I've been studying it ever since. And I've been going to other practitioners and getting certifications and degrees in Vedic as well. So I absolutely love both sciences. I actually do include Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto in my practice, which most Vedic astrologers don't do. So that's I chose Vedic rather than Western because I started off actually with astronomy. And when I looked up in the telescope, I saw the Vedic calculation, but I didn't see the Western. And I went, what's going on? And it was the Earth's axis shifts every 75 years. And so after 2,000 years of Western, it's not really the right sign. And so I switched over to Vedic after I really deep dived into all of the various charts, the Vargas, I go into all of the divisional charts. I go into the material charts. I go into obviously the timings, etc. I look at the panchang. I look at medical astrology, etc. I got really deep into Vedic. Like it just took me away. So, and I'm also a Vedic practitioner, and I am part of the Sivananda organization, the Divine Life Society. So it's also a part of my spirituality as well. So, and my husband is a yogic practitioner and director of the Sivananda Yoga Vedanta Center in multiple places throughout his life as well. So it's not only a mental practice for me, but also a spiritual one. And I'm a follower of Swami Sivananda as well. So, and then Yeah. So the readings I did for you were Vedic. So if you go to astrologicaltarot.com, the link is in the description. You can go ahead and click on chart calculator and you can figure out the sidereal calculation. That's if you look in an actual telescope, that's the actual calculation in the sky. The Western calculation is about 2,000 years old and it does not account for the Earth's axis. Okay, so that's there. So yeah, and I hope that was helpful, guys. I really enjoyed going through that with you tonight. That was a lot of information. I really encourage you guys to come back and really look into the various planets and how they're going to be affecting you this year based on your rising, your sun, and your moon. Again, your rising sign is how you are in this world. It's your physical body and what you came here to do. Your sun is your ego and how you shine, and your moon is your inner emotional state. And in the Mahadasha Lord, every planet has a period of years in which they're in charge of your life. Like right now, I'm in Saturn, and so Saturn is slow and steady progress, but he's in Libra, sixth house for me, so it's very well placed, and he is an amazing resource for me. My husband is in Mercury, so he's working on, working with his intellect and things like that, and challenges in that area. If you're in Venus, that's actually a really good Mahadasha to be in. That's, love, relationships, luxury, wealth, things like that. Jupiter, that's the guru, that's higher education and knowledge. I went through that when I was in college. It was amazing. So they all have a period of years in which they take over our lives. So the Mahadasha Lord can also tell you a lot about what's coming your way. But I pay attention to all of the planets and what they're doing and what houses they're aspecting and what we can expect based on those dates. So definitely, like I said, get out those Astro Diaries. I have my own, and just open it up. And what I do is I literally note all of the various things that are happening throughout the month. And then I do a daily journal based on the planetary alignments, not only to, for self-improvement, but also to help my clients understand what's coming. And I've been doing this since I was 9 years old because it's just the way I stay grounded. I'm a little weird. I'm an Aquarius moon. So we tend to have we're the star card, and we tend to have our head up in the stars. So, oh my goodness. And then, does my jewelry have a magical power? Well, I used to own a jewelry store and make jewelry. So I'm a Rohini ascendant, which rules jewels. And so I love that you love it. So, and then, yeah. And then, Daniela, I did give you a reading before. So go back and hit the review button, the rewind button. I did give you a reading. Okay. All right. And yes, pranayama, prana breath is very important. My husband and I do that every morning to stay grounded, Garnet. So I love that you brought that up. That's beautiful. And yeah. And then Delamala, you are an ascendant Aries, Sun, Moon, Scorpio, Mercury. Okay, so if you actually go back, you can go through each sign and find out what's ready for you this year. And again, this is the sidereal calculation. So go to astrologicaltarot.com, pick chart calculator. You get a free calculator right there. You don't have to, pay anything for it, okay? And then good to see you, Karen Suki. Yeah, definitely do the replay, guys, because it's going to bring you a lot of help moving into 2026. So I just want to thank all of you for being here, because I love that you stuck around and you got to listen to all of the readings. And I pray that you like, you share, you subscribe, and that you can help your friends and your family in 2026 really navigate the challenges that are coming our way, because the rose-colored glasses are coming off and we're going to start seeing things much more realistically, especially as we get into summer and fall when Saturn moves apart from Neptune, which is causing those rose-colored glasses. And we start to see the writing on the wall and take positive action for ourselves, our families, and really start living empowered as souls. So, and yes, Garnet, I completely agree with you. Keeping on top of the year's astrological chart, forewarned is forearmed, 100%. And I'm here every single Monday. And I'm here at 5 o'clock Eastern, sorry, 5 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Central, and 8 o'clock Eastern. So you're always welcome to join me. Oh, and I'm so glad that Vedic intrigues you. I will be giving classes later. So you're welcome to follow me and kind of keep track of things, because I've been studying it for a long time, Western even longer, and then astronomy since I was 9. So it's been a long life with the stars. It's just something I'm really passionate about. So, and thank you, Venus, for putting my link in the description. So definitely check out your chart. And it's totally free, just free chart calculator, okay? And I want to thank you all for being here, and I'm sending you tons of love into 2026. And I will be here next Monday, and I'm going to be here with the awesome Gerald. Now, I'm really praying that we're able to get online, because Mercury is going to be going through Gandanta. What's a Gandanta? It's a spiritual knot. And we might have some issues with communications and computers and things like that. So hopefully I will be here. But again, that will be 5 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Central, and 8 o'clock Eastern. So I want to send you all tons of love and light as we move into 2026. And please share this with your friends. And I hope this can be helpful for them moving forward, because it's meant to empower you and move you into a better way of planning out the year. So I'm sending you lots of love. Take care, everyone. Om Shanti, Om Peace, Om Love.
Sacred knowledge from the stars. Vedic truth heals ancient scars. Mantras clear the karmic way, bringing light to guide each day.